right, you guys good to go on the Zoom?
Recording in progress.
Okay. All right, we'll open up the Planning Commission hearing for September 11th, 2023, the City of Oregon City. Can you call the roll, please, Ms. Newman?
Commissioner LaSalle.
Present.
Commissioner West.
Present.
Commissioner Espy is absent. Commissioner Staggs.
Here.
Commissioner Laws.
Here.
Vice Chair Schlagenhofer.
Here.
Chair Stoll.
Here. All right, we'll move on to public comment for items not on the agenda. Do we have anyone, any comments signed up? All right, we'll move right on to the public hearing. I'll read the script. The following, my instruction, excuse me. Public hearings on land use applications are scheduled for tonight. Our role is to conduct the public hearing and to make decisions about the matter before us. In making those decisions, we must apply the applicable codes and laws and cannot vary from or change those laws or codes. The staff report has been prepared for each application and has been made available to the public 7 days before the first public hearing. The staff report identifies the approval criteria that apply to each applicant's proposal. Staff has analyzed the criteria which are contained in the staff report. The hearing procedure that the Planning Commission will follow is set out in state law and the Oregon City Municipal Code. The hearing procedure steps are shown on the Planning Commission website. Public testimony will be called on in the order it was requested. If you wish to testify in person, please fill out a speaker card available at the back of the room. If you wish to testify virtually, you will be called either from a request to speak emailed to city staff at planning@orcity.org in advance of this meeting, or by raising your virtual or physical hand when I ask if there are others in the audience who would like to participate. For the public record, please begin all testimony stating your name and city of residence. If you would like to receive a copy of the notice of decision, please state your mailing address or email address. Testimony and evidence should be directed toward the applicable approval criteria. If you believe other criteria in addition to those addressed in the staff report, identify and discuss those criteria and explain how and why you believe they apply to the application under consideration. Any person may submit written material while the public record is open on each application. Any written materials received by the city staff during the time period in which the record is open will be placed in the record. Written materials submitted during the public hearing must be presented to the city staff in order to become part of the record. If a person intends for PowerPoint presentations, reports, pictures, or other exhibits used in their oral testimony to be placed in the record, copies must be submitted to the city staff while the record is open. If they are not given to staff, they will not be included in the record. Any person wishing a continuance to present additional evidence and testimony or to keep the record open to respond to new evidence must make that request before the public testimony portion of the initial hearing is closed. If the Planning Commission makes a decision with which you disagree, any issue that you may wish to appeal must have been raised before the Planning Commission in order to be considered by the City Commission and, in the event of further appeal, to the Land Use Board of Appeals. Without raising the issue on the record with sufficient detail and accompanied by statements or evidence allowing the city and all parties to respond, the issue will not be considered on appeal. In addition to participating orally or in writing and raising all issues during the Planning Commission proceeding, the filing of an appeals must include the required fee. A city-recognized neighborhood association may request waiver of an appeal fee subject to the requirements set forth in the applicable sections of the Oregon City Municipal Code. In addition, the failure of an applicant to raise constitutional or other issues related to proposed conditions of approval with sufficient detail to allow the local government or its designee to respond to the issue precludes an action for damages in circuit court. Now we will open the record for Oregon City file number GLUA 23-00022 and VAR 23-00005, general land use application and variance for a garage siding and setback variance at 1404 Jackson Street. Members of the Planning Commission are to be unbiased. As a result, I will call on each commissioner to disclose any potential conflicts, such as family, financial, or business relationships with any of the applicants or with regard to the land in question. I will also ask whether any of the planning commissioners have discussed the application in question with any of the parties or have independent knowledge of relevant facts, such as a visit to the site in question. Any member of the audience may question any planning commissioner about their disclosures. At this point, does any commissioner have any conflicts of interest, ex parte contact, bias, or any other statement to declare or have visited the site? If there was a site visit, the planning commissioner must declare received. And I'll start at the right, Commissioner Staggs.
I have no conflict of interest or ex parte contact.
Okay, Vice Chair Schlagenhofer.
No bias, no ex parte contact, no conflicts of interest. I did not visit the site, but I know I've driven by it several times. The garage looks very familiar, and the layout looks exactly the way the pictures show it.
Okay. Commissioner Laws?
I have no conflict of interest, no ex parte contact. I have driven past the garage before.
Okay, Commissioner West?
I have, no ex parte conflict, or ex parte contact, no conflict, no bias. I did drive by the site and look at it.
Okay, Commissioner LaSalle?
I have no bias, no ex parte contact, no conflict of interest, and I did drive by the site.
Okay. I have, no ex parte contact, no bias, no conflict of interest. I made a site visit this afternoon. I found the existing garage as described in the application, well, it looked like it was fixing to fall down if there was an earthquake. So that's what I saw. Anyone in the audience wish to question any of the planning commissioners about these disclosures? All right, we'll go to the staff report.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Molly Gorin, and I am the planner representing staff for this hearing item tonight, file number GLUA 2322 and variance 2305. This is a variance request to the garage setback and siding requirements. Should I turn my mic up? Oh, it is on. Should I maybe just pull it a little closer? There we go. So this is a variance request to the garage setbacks and siding requirements at 1404 Jackson Street. So the subject site, the address is 1404 Jackson Street. The property itself is approximately 6,600 square feet. It's located within the R6 low-density residential zoning district, and it abuts an R3.5 medium-density residential district with some institutional zoning nearby as well. The vicinity of the subject property, it's within the McLaughlin neighborhood. The uses surrounding the property is predominantly single-family or medium-density residential. Again, there are some institutional uses surrounding the property as well. Here are some existing conditions photos of the current garage and where it's sited on the property. As you can tell from the photograph, the property has a slight slope to it, sloping towards the north corner of the property. So to review the application that we're looking at, it's a Type 3 Planning Commission variance to garage setbacks and accessory structure siting requirements or standards. As part of this project, an NROD application was also reviewed. This was a type 1 staff level verification. Staff found that the property met the criteria to exempt the project from further natural resources overlay district review, as it was more than 200 feet from the nearest regulated natural resource. And to review the Planning Commission options tonight, the Planning Commission may move to approve the file, the application. They may move to deny the application, provide staff supplemental findings, or continue the application to a date certain and obtain the 120-day waiver from the applicant. So the proposal specifically, I have the zoomed out site plan here. So the proposal is to site a new garage on the property, and is requesting a variance to the setback and accessory structure requirements for it to be placed 5 feet from the front property line and 1 foot from the side property line to the north. We're gonna see a more zoomed in site plan here shortly. So this is the site plan zoomed in to the actual garage. I'll just make a few notes here. There is a dotted line showing the siting of the current garage there on the a few inches from the property line. I'll also note the location of the PGE pole in the planting strip, and its proximity to the existing curb cut there, as well as the guy cable pole support off of the PGE pool. And the garage itself is planned to be a 16 by 24, almost 400 square foot garage. Here we have some elevations. The south elevation, which faces towards the, I guess, towards the house-ish. On the side there, it shows the awning that's proposed. It's a 3.5 foot awning there. And then the west elevation, that would be the side that's facing Jackson Street there. So here are the specific code sections that this variance is requesting to be looked at. The first is 1708040, the dimensional standards for the low-density residential district. These standards state that the garage shall be set back 20 feet from a right-of-way. We're also looking at section 175410, subsection B2, which states that an residential accessory detached building shall be behind the front line of the building and at most, or at least 3 feet from a side property line. As you may have seen in the staff report, there was some conversation early on in this project between the applicant and our Public Works Department about the siting of the garage. The Public Works Department did decide to submit a memo discussing the conversations that they had and commented that the original request for a 14-foot setback would most likely encourage those to park in front of the garage and potentially block the existing sidewalk. The setback variance was recommended to be then 5 feet from the property line in this instance. That it would better meet city standards than what's there existing, and would also meet the applicant's desires with this project in preserving certain items on the property. So the applicant's options to meeting these standards with this project is to either submit plans for a garage that meet our setback requirements and accessory building requirements, or to obtain a planning commission variance for the siting. To quickly review the variance approval criteria, the variance from the requirements is not likely to cause substantial damage to adjacent properties by reducing light, air, safe access, other desirable or necessary qualities otherwise protected, that the request is the minimum variance that would alleviate the hardship, that granting the variance will equal or exceed the purpose of the regulation being modified, any impacts resulting from the adjustment are mitigated, and no alternatives have been identified which would accomplish the same purpose and not require a variance. And lastly, that the variance conforms to the comprehensive plan and the intent of the ordinance being varied. So to review staff's recommendation and findings, the structure, including any projections, is proposed to be sited entirely on the subject property. The proposed garage would abut an unimproved right-of-way, and that unimproved right-of-way means that it's approximately 25 feet from the nearest neighboring property line. The applicant stated several hardships in the application, including a desire to protect established trees and other vegetation during the project. There is a PG pole, which I had mentioned, in that abutting planning strip, that's restricting the movement or the location of a new driveway approach. And extensive excavation and grading would be required if the applicant were to comply with the required setbacks and siting. And that's mostly due to the slope of the property. So the proposed placement of the garage would not obscure the view of the existing home from the street. Approval of the variance would allow the applicant to meet the intent of the comprehensive plan and zoning code by effectively utilizing the subject property for single-family residence use. And the placement of the garage within the setbacks would not negatively impact neighborhood appearance or livability. And based on these findings for the variance request, staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve files GLUA 2322 and Variance 2305. I'll take any questions.
All right, thank you. Yeah, Commissioner or Vice Chair Schlagenhofer, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry if it was in your report and I missed it, but the pole support, it's right in front of the door. What's the plan on, does PGE, need them to move the pole, move the support? What needs to happen there?
I believe that with the proposed, I don't think that there would be any obstruction to the pole or the pole support.
Because the photo, the sketch makes it look like the pole support is in line with part of the door.
It's in line with the man door, not the garage door.
Oh, that's the man door?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, sorry, there is a door, on the right side of the garage.
Okay.
For the egress
Did
of the garage.
anybody ask PGE if they're okay with the placement of the garage?
There was public notice, yes.
Okay, all right. All right. The rest of it looks pretty good. Moving it further back definitely makes it easier to put the driveway in, because that, with how close it is to the sidewalk now, it's definitely gonna improve that. Okay, I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, anyone else have any questions?
Chair Stoll?
Yes, Commissioner West.
I'm sorry, I don't know, I mustn't have the latest version of Zoom here, so I don't know how to raise my hand on this. So you just presented, what you would like for conditions of approval, but in our packet, was it the building department that said that they'd like that wall on the, what side is that, the north side there? Close to the right-of-way to have be a firewall with no windows? Are you not concerned about that or not addressing that, or is it?
I'm not too concerned about that, because it was more of a comment for the applicants to let them know that would be a part of their building permit review, would be that they are going to require that firewall. So that will be reviewed through a building permit. So I'm not entirely concerned.
Okay, so it's not a condition of approval. Thank you.
Commissioner LaSalle?
What is the purpose of the awning and what is it constructed of?
I wasn't sent any specs on the specific awning, so I'm gonna ask that be asked to the applicant.
All right, any other questions from commissioners?
Yes.
Oh, sorry,
Let's
go
see
ahead.
here. Somewhere I read where the architecture is to match the home. I wonder how they will accomplish that. Is that by the roof pitch or just how?
Again, I think the applicant may be better to answer, but there is a similar pitch. They are putting, you know, a window that appears to have a pretty large trim on it as well. That could be matching the existing home.
And just one more comment. I kind of think that old garage adds a bit of charm to the neighborhood. That's all I had.
Thank you.
All right. Question that I have, two questions. It looks like the existing curb cut is offset from where the new garage door is going to be. Do they intend to widen that or re-center it on the garage door?
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
The curb cut for the driveway is off. It's in line with the current door, but it's offset compared to the new door. So is there a plan to widen that or move it or?
They did not propose to create a new curb cut.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that they're going to work with their existing curb cut.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Any further questions from commissioners? Oh, Vice Chair Schlagenhofer?
The spot that's got the garbage cans on it, is that an easement or what is that?
It's not an easement, it's an unimproved, right-of-way, so,
Right
you
away
know,
for who? Is there someone in the back that would serve or?
for the trash cans, I think the current property owners
Because there's
is
a
using that
driveway
area
there
for
too.
storage.
That's what kind of confused me.
Yeah, I live roughly close to that, and there are a number of right-of-ways that are platted, but they go through ravines and, you know, basically things that, where roads can't be built, and I think that's,
Okay,
That's what
there's
that
no
is.
power pole that needs to be accessed through that?
that I don't know.
Okay. Okay. I'm done.
Chair Stoll, can I speak again?
Yes,
Is that right away, I just assumed it was an alley. Is that not synonymous with an alley that isn't improved?
Our code definition of alleyway does restrict alleys to be, I think it's 15 feet wide right-of-ways. I can get that verified right now, but, there's a specific definition to alleyways that this, unimproved right-of-way does not meet.
All right, thank you.
one more question I just remembered, for staff regarding the N-Rod. So is it, because the creek in that section is undergrounded, is that why it's more than 200 feet from a feature?
There is, storm drainage on this street, specifically Jackson Street, and the nearest, I'm not exactly sure why this property was included in the N-Rod, mapped area, because the nearest stream, even when the inventory was taken, is approximately 200 feet from.
Yeah, there's a stream that starts uphill, and through that section, it's undergrounded.
Yeah.
So I was just, is it the undergrounding that causes it to no longer be an N-Rod?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, last chance. Any other questions for commissioners, for staff? All right, we'll move on to the applicant. And come on up. Yeah, so state your name, city of residence, and who you are, and you have 15 minutes.
Okay, well, my name is Jane Littlefield. I live at 1404 Jackson Street. I am the property owner and submitted the variance request. I didn't prepare anything to talk about because Molly was going to teach you everything you needed to know about the request, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you asked, if you want to repeat them. I would just say, while the garage does add a certain character of, I'm not sure what word I would use, antiquity to the neighborhood, it is an unsafe and very close to the sidewalk structure that the foundation is actively crumbling, and the ice storm and the rain and other things we've had happen have just made it more dangerous as we've lived there for 8 years. So we're looking to improve the safety in both the surrounding area and the aesthetic appearance of our property. We've done a lot of improvements to the front, to the yard in our property. We planted a ton of trees since we've moved in. We plan to mitigate the loss of the big camellia behind the garage. There's no way we can keep that, but we are trying to retain every other tree and shrub that we have in that area. And we plan to make it look like it's always been there, a new garage. The other big impetus for doing this is we want to get an electric car. That seems to be the future of transportation, and we don't have a place to charge our car. We don't want to have an extension cord going across the sidewalk into the road, which is what a lot of our neighbors do right now. So this is also helping us be able to be good shepherds of our environment and also good neighbors for everyone else. And I wrote up a little, maybe 4 or 5 page narrative in the application that has more details about why we want to do this, if you want to read that. But I'm happy to speak to any questions you have.
Okay. Any commissioners have any questions for the applicant? No? My question, are you going to move the curb cut, or is it going to stay where it is?
We weren't planning on it, no.
Okay. My only real concern there is the chance of having to drive over a curb and damaging the curb long-term if it's offset by that couple feet. I don't know.
On the uphill side of the garage, there's the access door.
Yeah.
And I guess that's something I would talk to the architect about, but we are gonna be getting a bunch of building permits, and so as these questions come up, I assume that the permitting process is going to address anything that's questionable, and I don't know if that comes back to
Yeah,
all of you
I-
to see.
Yeah, I don't know that we can make it a condition of approval. I'm just looking at it offset a couple feet, you know, and if you're backing a car straight out with very little clearance, if you turn even just a little, you're gonna jump the edge of the curb rather than go through the driveway, but I don't know that we can make that a condition of approval, so. All right. No questions? Go ahead.
I don't know much about curb cuts and redoing sidewalks. I haven't done any. But I think if there's any kind of issues with the project, I think they would probably have to address it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine they would let them, I mean, if the thing crumbles when excavators are going over this thing, they're probably gonna have to fix it anyway.
It's true, yeah, okay. All right, yep, Commissioner Staggs?
Yeah, I don't know that we need to make it a condition of approval, but I would imagine when this goes through the building department and all that, they're gonna want them to align, they're gonna want the curb cut to be wider, which I think will be recommended anyways.
Yeah.
Just for your own use of the garage.
Okay, Commissioner West or LaSalle, any questions for the applicant? No?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. No. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you all.
I'm gonna go through the list here. I don't think we have anybody. Representatives of recognized neighborhood association, government agency, or other incorporated public interest? No. Individuals? No. You're welcome to have 5 more minutes if you like. No, you're good, okay. All right, so we will, move on to discussion and a motion.
I think it's gonna make the place look much better, so I think
Yep.
it's an asset.
All right, anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the variance, GLUA 23-022 and variance 23-05 at 1404 Jackson Street.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion's been, made by Commissioner LaSalle, seconded by Commissioner West. Any further discussion? All right, call the vote, please.
Commissioner LaSalle,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Staggs,
Aye.
Commissioner Laws,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schlagenhofer,
Aye.
Chair Stoll.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you for coming in tonight. Yep. All right, thank you.
Good luck.
All right, we'll move on to communications.
Thanks. Wanted to give you an update on the Park Place Crossing remand, so I've asked City Attorney Kabizman to give you a quick update on that.
And it is going to be quick because there's not all that much new to report. As you know, Luba remanded the city's decision a while ago, appealed to the Court of Appeals. Court of Appeals affirmed without opinion, so there's no further insight from the Court of Appeals. The staff has been reviewing options and had some discussions and hope to have a process identified shortly. The way the process works is upon remand, the next step is really in the applicant's hand. They can trigger saying, hey, we want you to begin your consideration, and then there's a timeline, I believe 120 days, it may be 90 days, for the city to run through whatever process on remand. There isn't anything laid out in statute, so the city commission has the first go, and they get to decide what process they want. They may send it back to the planning commission, or they may choose not to. It's really ultimately in the applicant's hand at this point, and then once they pull the trigger, it then goes into the city commission's hands.
When did the confirmation happen?
I'm sorry, when did?
The Court of Appeals confirmation, when did they
What's the date on when the Court of Appeals made their decision?
Yeah.
I don't have that in front of me. Pete, do you have the decision?
I didn't realize it already happened.
One moment.
I want to say about 2 weeks ago, but I could be off by a little bit.
Yeah, we were informed August 16th at the Court of Appeal.
Okay.
We were informed on August 16th by Carrie Richter that the Court of Appeals affirmed Luba's decision without an opinion.
So
Okay, all right, thank you.
A little over 3 weeks, sorry.
All right, thank you. And, we have minutes on the agenda as well.
Yes.
Do you have anything to speak to about that, or should we just do a motion?
I don't have the agenda in front of me.
Okay.
These minutes are for what date?
Oh, there's a bunch of
Oh, a
them.
bunch of them, yeah.
They're old.
Do
So,
you want me to read the dates? I've got it up.
yes.
Yeah, so we've got October 13th, 2014, October 27th, 2014, April 12th, 2021, July 12th, 2021, July 26th, 2021, August 9th, 2021, September 27th, 2021, October 11th, 2021, February 28th, 2022, April 25th, 22. There's both the meetings and the work session minutes. May 23rd, again, meetings, minute meetings and work session meetings.
All right, do we have a motion or discussion on the minutes?
I'll make a motion that we approve all the minutes.
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? All right, call the vote, please.
Commissioner LaSalle,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Staggs,
Aye.
Commissioner Laws,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schlagenhofer,
Aye.
Chair Stoll.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Any other communications?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Okay, any commissioners, any communications, anything you'd like to share?
No.
All right, we are adjourned.
There it is. How about that? Tim. So Bill Kavai's